Welcome to this deep dive. We've pulled together a stack of sources for you today, really a snapshot of crypto and market news from June 7th, 2025.
Right, yeah. We're looking at pieces from places like CoinMarketCap, CoinQ, Crypto Newsland, PowerTrade, Queen Crypto News, too. A real mix.
Exactly. And our goal, like always, is to kind of sift through all this stuff, big bank news, trading plays, all of it.
And pull out what really matters for you. It's like a shortcut, right? Helping you get genuinely informed on what's actually moving the needle based just on the source material we have here.
Totally. And it's a fascinating mix this time, really. Shows how crypto is interacting with the wider world from different angles.
Yeah, you've got these big traditional finance names making moves.
Right. And then these surprising corporate strategy shifts.
And even some like really specific high stakes market bets.
So let's just jump right in. What stood out? What might it all mean?
Okay, so kicking things off with some of the big picture stuff. Traditional finance, corporations, that kind of thing. The headline that really grabbed my attention, saw it in a couple of places, was about Deutsche Bank.
Oh, yeah, the German bank. That was in a guest post on CoinMarketCap, wasn't it? And it's super recent, too, like published just half an hour ago based on the timestamp.
Exactly. And it says Deutsche Bank is launching some kind of new cryptocurrency initiative. Now, the source is, well, a bit light on the specifics of the initiative itself. But just the fact that it's Germany's largest bank making another move into this space, that feels like a pretty big signal, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, when a bank that size in a major economy like Germany makes a public move, even a small one,
Right.
it really signals something about institutional readiness, maybe legitimization. It just ripples out,
Yeah, it's not just any bank. It's a major player. Could be paving the way, could be just responding to demand, but it's significant either way.
Okay, so moving from one big financial name to another story involving a well-known entity, Arca. We saw reports they're selling off all their Circle shares.
Yeah, that was interesting. And the source gave a pretty specific reason. It's tied to a dispute over IPO allocation.
Ah, okay.
Apparently, Arca's CIO, Jeff Dorman, was quoted criticizing how Circle handled its allocation. The source mentions, potential impact on USDC, maybe market reactions.
Right.
But the core thing seems to be that disagreement kind of gives you a peek into the tensions that can pop up when these crypto native firms start moving towards like traditional market listings.
Interesting dynamic there. Okay, let's shift gears a bit to another corporate strategy story that really jumped out. This one's about Greg Kidd acquiring a controlling stake in No Labs.
Right. And the how is pretty key here, according to the sources. He's using Bitcoin and cash.
Bitcoin and cash, okay.
Which leads to him becoming CEO and chairman. But the real headline, strategically speaking, is that No Labs is adopting a Bitcoin treasury strategy.
Okay, and that's more than just a leadership change then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, much more. It's a fundamental shift in how they're managing their balance sheet.
And the number. The source mentioned a specific percentage, didn't it? Something high.
82%. The source says Bitcoin will make up 82% of No Labs treasury.
Wow. 82%. That's wild.
It really is.
I mean, that's not just putting a bit of cash aside into BTC. That's making Bitcoin the main thing on their balance sheet. What does a number like 82% even signal?
Well, it's incredibly high compared to, most corporate Bitcoin strategies we've seen, like MicroStrategy or Tesla back in the day. It signals this really, really strong conviction, almost an all-in bet, maybe?
Yeah, seems like it.
On Bitcoin's long-term value. They're seeing it not just as like an alternative asset, but maybe their primary store of value, possibly even operational.
Comes with huge risk, though, right? Volatility.
Oh, definitely. Significant volatility risk. But it speaks volumes about their belief that Bitcoin is, a superior treasury asset compared to just holding cash or low-yield stuff. It's a statement.
A very strong statement. Okay, so let's pivot from how companies are holding assets to how some big players might be trading them. Let's look at the market pulse stuff.
Right. So there was this headline, whales go all in on BTC calls. Catchy.
Yeah, it definitely grabs your attention.
And the sources give some context here. Apparently, Friday saw this wave of optimism in global markets. It was driven by the U.S. jobs report.
Ah, the jobs report.
Yeah.
Right, it came in better than expected.
Yeah, showed 139,000 jobs added in May, beating the forecast of around 125K. And unemployment held steady at 4.2%, so a positive macro signal.
Okay, so against that backdrop, you have this headline suggesting whales, big players, are buying up Bitcoin call options.
Exactly, making significant bets that the price is going to go up. Buying calls, for anyone listening who's less familiar, is basically paying for the right to buy Bitcoin at a set price later on.
So if you buy a lot of them, you're pretty confident the price is going way up past that set price.
Precisely. You expect it to rise significantly to make those options pay off. The article even asks, what do these whales know? It sort of connects that market action back to the positive jobs data and the general mood.
Classic market stuff. Watch where the big money flows after big news.
And then, kind of on the flip side of that, or maybe just another example of a specific high-conviction trade, one source detailed someone named Ogle shorting the Trumpy token.
Oh, interesting. Betting against it. How big?
The report was specific. A $1 million short position on Hyperliquid.
Okay, $1 million.
But here's the kicker. 10x leverage.
Oof. 10x leverage on $1 million short. That's risky.
Extremely. It means they're controlling that $1 million position with maybe only $100,000 of their own capital, right? Borrowing the rest.
Which magnifies gains if they're right and the price drops.
But hugely magnifies losses if they're wrong.
Yeah.
And the source even notes their liquidation price is $12.49. So if Trump goes up to that price...
Poof. The whole position gets wiped out.
Yeah, exactly. High stakes indeed. Leveraged bet on that specific token falling.
Wow. Okay, let's maybe broaden out just a little bit now and touch on some ecosystem updates mentioned. Platforms, broader tech. There was something about Coinbase.
Yeah, Coinbase. The CEO, Brian Armstrong, apparently addressed the issue they've had with account freezing. That's been a real pain point for users,
Definitely heard complaints about that before.
Well, according to the report, they've managed an 82% reduction in those specific freezing issues.
82%. That's a big improvement.
It is, and they pledged, continued improvements, more transparency. It shows they're focusing on fixing a core operational headache that really impacts people using the platform.
Good to hear. And then, sort of adjacent tech news, Google popped up in the feeds too.
Yeah, Google announced a preview of an enhanced AI model, Gemini 2.5 Pro.
Gemini 2.5 Pro. Okay.
And they're calling it their most intelligent model yet, according to the source.
High praise from themselves, but okay.
Right. Now, obviously, it's not directly a crypto story, but you see these major AI advancements happening and being reported alongside the crypto news. It makes you think about the broader tech evolution and, well, potential future intersections, right? Data analysis, maybe trading algorithms, infrastructure, who knows?
Yeah, that's a good point. It's all part of the same rapidly changing tech landscape.
Right.
So, okay, let's try and connect some dots here. We got Deutsche Bank dipping its toes further in, Arca getting out of Circle shares over a dispute.
Right.
No labs going like 82% into Bitcoin for its treasury.
Super aggressive, yeah.
Whales betting big on BTC calls after good jobs numbers.
Someone making a huge leveraged short bet against Trumpy.
Coinbase fixing user account issues.
And Google pushing AI forward.
When you lay it all out like that,
yeah,
what's the picture that emerges?
It's just dynamic, isn't it? The sheer variety of stuff happening all at once. You've got cautious steps from TradFi, like Deutsche Bank.
Yeah.
Then you've got really bold corporate moves, like no labs. Way bolder than maybe we'd have expected a while back.
Sure.
You have sophisticated, high-risk trading happening, clearly tied to macro sentiment. And then the underlying tech, like AI, just keeps marching forward in the background.
So it's not just one thing driving the space.
Not at all. It shows the ecosystem is evolving on all these different fronts, simultaneously: institutional, corporate, retail trading, technology. They're all interacting.
It really hammers home that crypto isn't this isolated thing anymore, is it? It's tangled up with global finance, corporate strategy, market psychology, cutting-edge tech.
Exactly. And looking at these different sources together, like we just did, helps you actually see those connections, those threads between events that might seem separate otherwise.
Right. So quick recap for everyone. We saw Deutsche Bank's new initiative signal, that really bold 82% Bitcoin treasury from no labs, the big market bets both bullish on BTC calls and that risky short on Trump has, plus Coinbase improving things for users, and Google's AI announcement.
It's a packed snapshot from just one day, June 7th.
It really is. So maybe a final thought to leave you with. Given everything we've just seen in this snapshot, Germany's biggest bank moving in, a company putting 82% of its funds into Bitcoin, AI getting smarter and smarter. What kind of unexpected connections or maybe future developments could emerge from this intersection of traditional finance, really ambitious crypto strategies, and rapidly advancing technology? Something to mull over.